Let's have some fun with X-Acto knives and feathers. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to try and make a feather nib, like a quill, like in the olden days where people use these to write with. I hope it works. I haven't tried this before, but I have a little bottle of ink also to try it out. But from what I understand, I'm going to have to cut this bottom part of the quill, and it's pretty thick. It's kind of like a fingernail type material. But I'm going to take a super sharp X-Acto knife and try and carve at an angle this part off. There we go. So you can see there, I've got a little tip right there. And what I'm going to do is kind of split this in half. It's called a spline. When you split this in half, the spline will feed the ink up into the feather, and then as you touch it to paper, the absorption of the paper will draw the ink out. So that's the theory. Let's see if we can get it to work. So I'm going to move this. There's some debris in there that I'm going to get out. And then just kind of cut it down the middle. Probably just at the end, not too far up. So I just split that material like a fingernail. And let's try and see if it works. And we can make adjustments to it if it doesn't work. But we're going to use these to do some drawing with, some ink drawing. Just going to dip that in there and see how this goes. There we go. So it's drying up pretty quick. Just going to dip it again. But so far so good. So I guess it depends on what kind of tip you want. So this is more of a calligraphic tip. Gosh, that dries up pretty quickly. But, so it's a little bit wider on one end. And I think if I want it to give me a more solid line, instead of this frayed line, I just have to scrape more of that stuff out and refine the tip a little bit more. Let's try a different nib. So here's another feather, and I'm going to carve it to a point. There's all that debris in there, but I want a finer point so that it can draw with it. Just shaving it a little bit, and I want to get some of these feathers off of there. So depending on how you want your pen to write, if you want it to have fine lines or if you want to make dots with it, you just refine the tip to what you would like. So I'm just going to carve that in a little bit more so I get a really fine tip. And get this off. Okay, so let's try this tip out. There's that. It's going to be super flexible. And I'll probably want to carve away more of this. But let's dip it in here and see how that works for a fine tip. So it's a finer line. It's not as sturdy as I would like. So I might have to peel away some of those finer feathers and carve a little bit higher up where it's stronger. But I'm able to get fine little dots out of this. So that's nice. Yeah, there we go, and little fine lines. All right, so that's how you would make a quill.